Good afternoon. Welcome to this session in the International Master in Sustainable Development. Would like to thank you for being here again. For those that here in the classroom, and for those who are following us through the streaming for the website of the school. We're going to speak today about carbon footprint. We already started some days ago to speak about what is carbon footprint. We're going to focus today on carbon footprint and its relation to consumers, okay? Consumer behavior. This is the title of the session that we're having today. If you remember from previous class, we've been going through that, so I hope you will be able to follow without any problem. Just for those who don't know me, my name is Marcos López-Brea. I'm the director for Southern Europe for a Danish company called Winter Photonics. I'm working in the energy field and also in all the emissions, greenhouse gas emissions area. And I'm a teacher here at this school, and I really like teaching in this international master. So welcome to all of you that didn't know me before. So would really ask you to raise your hands for the questions you have. I'll give you the microphone in order that people who are not here today can listen to your questions that I'm sure will be interesting. So just wanted to start with this graph that you want you to just have a look at it. It's called behavior change. In the center of it, you see behavior change for combating climate change. Different actions that could be taken, ideas, emotions, money, communication, celebrities that can speak about what is happening. Does it make any, I mean, do they succeed in communicating all these issues, and is it effective? Benefits, cost studies, okay, how to deal with this. If you compare how much money do you have to spend to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, and what are the benefits of doing it? And a lot of ideas that are confusing sometimes, sometimes extra support to different technologies, for example. Yeah, so that's more or less a kind of things that appear when you have to think about how to solve this problem. And we're speaking about climate change, but particularly about carbon footprint, which is, as you know, quantifying the greenhouse gas emissions that not only companies, but products, services, countries, and of course individuals are causing, that we are causing, okay? Yeah. We have, as you know, different methodologies to assess the carbon footprint of products. Different initiatives worldwide, some in Korea, some in the US, in Germany, some other like an international field, a lot of labels. This yes is kind of ironic. Yes, we got 80 methodologies, 80 different ways of communicating the environmental impact of a product. It's yes, how can we deal with this? Another graph, another picture that I would like you to see. This woman in front of, that is in a supermarket, in front of 3 different labels. At the top you see organic apples, 2.99 per pound, organically grown in Australia, then transported here by burning fossil fuels that cause global warming. This is the first label. Second one is a cheaper product. You have this conventional apples, 150, grown in the US using illegal workers, and dangerous pesticides that pollute local groundwater supplies. Well, and the third one is bargain bean apples, just 0.79, the cheapest one, grown in South America using slave labor, contaminated soils, and neurotoxic pesticides banned in the US. Which one of these three labels would you really care about? None of them? The three? You have any ideas? Come on. Tatiana, come on. What are you feeling about this?
My feeling about this is that we should care about the cheapest one because they are the most attractive.
The cheapest one?
Yeah, because, well, I mean, they are more vulnerable, the most vulnerable, because they are the cheapest and they attract more customers.
Okay.
That is why we should be like more, I mean, we should, well,
Go
yes.
for the cheapest.
No, I don't say to go for the cheapest. I
Okay.
say we should like, this is the vulnerable part, the
Yeah.
most one.
Okay.
So that is why we should pay more attention to the balance price.
Okay,
In this case.
because there is a slave
Yeah.
working on this.
Because like the three of them are not very pleasant to read about.
Okay.
So, but the worst one is the cheapest one.
The worst one is the cheapest one. Okay, thank you. Some other ideas? Yep.
Regarding the information, the best one would be the most expensive. But in real life, we don't have all this information. So actually, maybe the more expensive in real life is the one using slave labor.
The most expensive?
Maybe in real life. Right now, no. Right now, the best one to choose is the more expensive, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Some other ideas? Come on. Some other comments? Go on. Which one would you buy? Do you have some information about the environmental performance of these products? Any one of them is causing or releasing more CO2 or more greenhouse gases compared to the others? Do you have this information?
No, we don't have that information, but I think the more expensive one, that one has like the consequences of the most expensive ones are a little far from our bed. Like if we read illegal workers and slave labor, that touches us more than if we read fossil fuels, maybe.
Okay.
And in real life,
Yep.
you don't read that anyway. And if it's $2 compared to 79 cents, one might be more más propenso. One would like to buy the cheapest one.
They go for the cheapest one.
Yeah, because normally you don't see that information.
Okay. Thank you. Another one?
Yeah, I mean the thing is that, well, a lot of things, no, but it's like it's very difficult and confusing because each one is comparing different things. So maybe the first one talks about transportation and fossil fuels and more related to climate change and greenhouse gases, but the other ones talk about another part of the story of the farming or the growing of the apples, that is like labors or pesticides. None of them talk about how much water, well, only pollution of water, but not like the amount of water used to grow. So
Okay.
it's difficult to compare. They're comparing different things.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So, in fact, you have different labels, but first thing is that they're not really quantifying. They're not giving a specific figure. It's just speaking about general things. So, yeah, difficult to compare. Another point is, would you really go through to the label and read it? Well, it's not so clear. Maybe just focus on the price, or focus on what are you buying the apples for. Maybe doing an apple pie, or maybe you eating the apple. You will maybe buy the cheapest compared to the most expensive one. Yeah, but at least for what you see here, is really the face of this woman is quite. Oh my God! What? Sorry? Okay.
I said all the apples look the same to me
Yeah.
from this distance.
Yeah. That's an important thing. We are comparing the same product. It will be even more difficult to compare different products, but we are comparing the same product. Remember when we spoke about the methodologies and all these things that if you compare the same product, you might reach a different result. Even if we're comparing different products, results will be completely the same. Even we're not comparing apples with bananas or another fruit, okay? But we're comparing apples. What is stated here? Remember, you vote with your dollars. What you buy is what you encourage. This means that stop blaming at governments or companies that are producing goods like burning fossil fuels, but who is buying them? That's ourselves. We're buying these products. So, in a way, we should feel responsible in a certain part of it. You don't agree with me. You're looking at me with
yes,
yeah.
I realize that, but if you need apples, I mean, and if you don't have like where to plant your own apple trees, like this is what you got, and
Yeah.
none of these alternatives is attractive, but you have to buy apples anyway. So it's like
Yeah.
you're kind of trapped in the huevo y gallina, no? And like the hen and the chicken, like who's responsible?
Okay.
I mean, like what you can do is you can do something, but it's kind of limited also.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any other reaction? So, yeah. And same for, at least for what we see here, it should be difficult to take a decision. Maybe we go for the cheapest, never know. If you have more money, you maybe go for the most expensive one, but generally speaking, you won't really be able to process or to transform into your mind what is written there. Yeah?
I think maybe if the government wants to encourage a certain behavior,
Yeah?
they can subsidize, for instance, the organic apples.
Okay.
Because people must have money to buy the better one. But if they don't have money, then they would automatically go with the cheapest one.
Okay.
So maybe the government can do something about that. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not completely, I don't completely agree with the statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Taxes.
Yeah. So you mean if the government is establishing a kind of policy regulation to make people buy the most or the less polluting or the less environmentally impacting product, it's not so clear that this would help if certain part of the people will buy another product. Okay, great. Thank you. Just move to the next one. This sentence from this Albert Einstein, that it was known as a physicist and many things, Nobel Prize. You can't keep doing the same thing every day and expect different results. That's clear. What to expect if you are wanted to reduce your emissions or overall or global emissions if we're still doing the same things, buying the same products, do not changing our behavior. Yeah, so if we want to things to change, we should change. That's clear. The question is how to change, or what is motivating us to behave differently. Some examples about international initiatives. This one is from Switzerland, and this is a company called Klimatop. It belongs to a water NGO called My Climate. Okay, they're working on the CDM projects, working on offsetting emissions. You remember offsetting? Like balancing or compensating the emissions that a company or individual or an event even can cause by investing money in some projects, renewable energies, some other projects that could, in a way, compensate or offset the emissions that are created. This company, Klimatop, is focused on labels, and they created certain labels. This is an example of hand drying. If you see from the most simple textile roller towel to different towel, paper towel, conventional hand dryer, and then 4 different Dyson hand drying. This air blade, this sprayed, this air blade, and different models. Okay. I don't know if you've seen this one in different restaurants or some places. They're very quick. You just put your hands, and 10 seconds your hands are dry. What do you imagine the cost of maybe these ones could be and the cost of these ones are? You can guess. Yeah, give me a price. What do you think? What is the price of this textile hand drying? What do you think it could be?
Oh gosh.
50 euros, 500, 5,000?
Maybe like 50, yeah.
50 euros?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then that one is the Dyson Airblades.
What
would be
about
more
this one?
expensive. Yeah. 250.
250.
550.
550. So you bet for 50 that one, 550 this one.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Another one, please. What is your price?
I'd say, I don't know,
That one?
this one is like 60s,
Yeah. This one?
750.
750. We're getting closer. Thank you. Come on, give us your price.
I would say the textile roller would be 200
Okay.
and the Dyson Airblade would be 2000.
Okay, great. That's it, more or less. That's around 180, 200, depending on which paper you're using, which kind of modern or old-fashioned system you're using. This one is close to 1,800 euros. The thing is that it's using 10% of the energy that you use to put the papers inside. The energy that you need for the whole process, if you go through the entire life cycle of this system and you compare it to this one, the difference is important. It's like this. You see the emissions in grams of CO2 equivalent per hand drying. It's for each time you dry your hands. If this Dyson, you have something like 3 grams. In the conventional one, you get closer to 10 grams of CO2. Okay? 3 times, and energy consumption is much lower. If you compare just the one who use energy, like if you compare this one to this one, you will maybe stay with your hands for 2 minutes there, and your hands are still wet. Don't you think so? With this one, just 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds, you're completely dry. This one should be 300, 350, 1,700. Who do you think, which kind of companies, maybe restaurants, which kind of hotels, would go for this one of these two? Just use, please.
Airports.
Airports? Yeah, you've seen it in airports. Me too. Why airports? It's too expensive.
Yeah,
A lot of people use it.
a lot of people use it.
So what could be the benefit? Because it's too expensive. Why don't they put this anymore?
Well, it's more efficient for them to use the new one, Dyson,
Okay.
in the long term. Yeah.
In the long term, we'll have to work out how long would it take us to get it amortized. But as it is used a lot, the energy consumption of this one is much less compared to this one. So yeah, it begins to have a sense. Thank you. Great. Yeah. Hold on.
I'm wondering, for all those information later here, that including the maintenance costs.
Yeah.
Because to maintain them, you also need to send people,
Yeah.
bring more footprint. So all the information listed had including everything.
Thank you. That's the entire life cycle. It means that the work it's calculated through this Swiss company, that in fact they are doing through a certified company that is verifying the results. is considering the whole life cycle of the product. That is from raw materials to end of life, including the use phase and what is needed for the product to be kept in a good quality to work. So we're comparing in a, let's say, apples with apples. We're comparing in a accurate basis. Okay? Yeah. Well,
But the comparison is only with CO2.
that's CO2 equivalent, which means that we compare in not only carbon dioxide, but also methane, SF6, and yeah,
But
other.
it's all
the
about
6
greenhouse gases.
We're just considering greenhouse gases. This is carbon footprint.
Okay, but what
But-
happens when, like, maybe not for this product, but for example, I was thinking about an example. You know, I don't know if it relates, but kind of to make my point, is like, for example, no, in the northern countries of Europe, where they have started to not use disposable diapers anymore, but to reuse them. Okay, so it's like, in one hand, for the environment it's better because they don't dispose the diapers anymore, but in the other hand, now that diaper has like a water footprint, no? So
Yeah.
like maybe in this case there is nothing to do with water, but for example in the Apple case you have to different
Consider
factors to
water
consider.
and other resources.
Uh-huh.
You're right. Thank you. You're right. She's right. We're just focusing on CO2 equivalent, which is the 6 greenhouse gases, okay? If we would include and go other impacts, like water consumption, and would assess the water footprint, and maybe other ecosystems impacts or other resources that could be needed, or even other impacts like ozone depletion or eutrophication or acidification, etc. We will go to a wider scope, which is called environmental footprint. And we could try to compare on this environmental footprint approach which one has the lowest environmental impact. But in this case, we just have this, this graph comparing CO2 equivalent, just the carbon footprint. So what you say, it's interesting, because in fact, the question is, would be a consumer just interested in knowing the CO2 equivalent, or is that not enough? Okay. That's the first point. The second point that I would like to ask you is, do you think that instead of having the figure of the footprint, imagine you go for the apples, or you go for the hand drying end of the hand dryer, and you get just a figure like 5 grams of CO2 equivalent. Do you think that having the figure is giving you more or less information compared to this kind of thermometer or graph where you see the different options? Do you think this one is better? Yeah? Come on. What do you think? You think it's interesting to have this kind of information, or just the figure, just the carbon footprint? For example, imagine you're going to buy one of the hand dryers and you see the footprint is 5 grams of CO2. And would this figure give you enough information to buy it, or just to consider if it would be environmentally impacting or not? Or would you prefer a kind of system like this where you see where the product you're buying is in this, compared to the options? Which one would you go for?
It's easy to understand the figure. For me, it's easy to understand the figure. So I prefer the figure, of course.
You prefer this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's easy. It's maybe if you have, if you want more information, you can go deeper.
Okay.
After, but the first impression for me, it's best.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Amsterdam? Yep.
I think it has to do with the customers' informativeness, yeah, how the customers are informed. Because if you only have the figure, on the one hand, it's very good because you can estimate if you already know something on the topic. If you do not know, then you need a kind of scale to make an idea. On the other hand, if you only have a kind of label, I don't know, green label, CO2, like this label,
Yeah.
and if you know that this is like what label means, this is good. So maybe in this point it's better to have a scale
Mm-hmm.
in order to make the customers more informed.
Okay. That's regarding comparing, but would this information be enough to you to just make the decision? Or would you need other information? Or wouldn't you care about what environmental impact does this product have? Just take care about the price. What is your personal view?
My personal view.
Yeah?
I would like to see kind of number on the product
Okay.
to know. But I think that price plays a really important role,
Mm-hmm.
in my personal opinion.
Okay.
And, well, I would think if the price would really be valuable for me,
Mm-hmm.
then let's see if the number will play such an important role.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. We go to the next one. What about this? You know this brand? Who is selling this one? Decathlon? French? Just saying, okay, we're just saying CO2 equivalent, but now we are also adding water consumption. 118 liters for one bag. Plus? Sorry? And colors, yeah. So you have 3 indicators: CO2 emissions, energy consumption, water consumption. And then some colors. These colors represent a kind of range to place the product, okay? Maybe if you go to an E product, it will be more than 20 kilograms of CO2, more than 200 liters of water, okay? And you can then use this scale to place your products. In a way, this can help consumers. And you are, in a way, adding more environmental impacts, not just focusing to CO2 or CO2 equivalent. And you are helping the consumers to know where the product you're buying or that you are willing to buy is placed. But wouldn't you have any doubt about what is behind that?
I don't know if it's realistic
Uh-huh.
to, as a consumer, you will need twice as much time in the supermarket or in the store
Mm-hmm.
if you are going to assess all the products that you buy
Yeah.
and see if they are A, B, or C, or D. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's realistic.
Okay.
Maybe individually you would put a priority, like, okay, if I'm buying food,
Yeah.
then I will look if
Okay.
it's organic or not. I don't know if I would go as far as a backpack, because if I like another backpack and I
Uh-huh.
really like it and it's a D class, I don't
Yeah.
know if I would not buy it because this is the one that I like. So how far do you go?
Okay. Thank you. So just entering in what I was wanting you to speak about, depending on the product, depending if it's clothes, beverages, food, your preferences will be different. Now you will go for something you like instead of thinking or caring about the environmental impact. Some more opinions. What do you think? Would you care about and just look into Decathlon and see, okay, this one is red, this one is yellow, and go with your notebook and just to write it down, then after 1 hour, I'll go for this one.
I think it depends. Like, from my opinion, I kind of agree with Esther that I would not really do that. But I think only if, like, we start to have these kind of figures for all the products, we can actually get the awareness of the people and start doing it. Because if we only have it for food, we don't care about the other products, and it's not but the people don't realize that for the other products, for a normal backpack, you also use a lot of CO2 and all that. So I think you should implement it for all of them. And
Okay.
try to get the people to use it and look at it, even though it takes more
What
time.
you're saying, in fact, is that if you just care about food,
Yeah.
and we just think that we, in a way, we are saying that we just care about the emissions that are released for food and production, but we just choose the less environmental impacting product, and then we just buy anything,
Yeah,
clothes, etc.
yeah. Because like with food, it's obvious. I think it's like for the people, but with these kind of products, it's important as well. So I think it should be implemented.
Okay, thank you. Want to add something?
Well, I think it's good to add it to all the products,
Mm-hmm.
but I think at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's the individual that chooses whether he wants to choose the most ecological one or most friendly one with the environment
Yeah.
or not. And the individual is the one that puts the priorities
Mm-hmm.
where he wants. So I'm not against classifying all the products. I think it's good to classify all the products.
Mhm.
But I think at the end of the day, the individual is the one that chooses whether or not he's going to buy a product or not.
Okay, thank you. So it might help. It might be useful to have the information, but it's not necessarily true that we're going to trust what we see, or even that it's not necessarily true that this communication is going to change our preferences as consumers. Okay? Just wanted to share with you some results about what we've been discussing around. This is a Euro barometer that is normally done to assess the opinions in the European Union from different consumers and citizens about different, can be anything. This one was called attitudes of Europeans towards building the single market for green products. Okay, some of the results of this enormous survey, more than 25,000 people in this survey. One of the questions was, here are the statements about environmentally friendly products. Which of the following statements best describes your behavior towards these products in general? And as you see, the second one, you sometimes buy environmentally friendly products. That's 54%. That's a big number. We're considering all the European Union countries, not only Germany, UK, and some others, but also Italy, Greece, Spain, Portugal, yeah. And I find this number quite high. And even the first one, which is 26%, you often buy environmentally friendly products. Just 6% say you don't buy them, but you may do it in the future. And another 4% would say you don't buy them, but you definitely intend to do so in the future. Which means that, okay, it means what is behind this is I intend to do it. In a way, it doesn't mean anything. I intend to do it. But it says that, okay, if I get the right communication or the right label or the right information, I will, or I might do it. Yeah, so there are even like 80% of the people saying that they often do it or sometimes buy environmentally friendly products. The question is, what does environmentally friendly products? Is that organic food? Is that organic clothes? What is this? I don't think, sincerely speaking, that is carbon footprint labels that are behind this. Maybe some of them, some in the UK, some in Germany, okay, but yeah, maybe some in the in Northern Europe, like Sweden or Denmark, that you might find some labels, but definitely not in Southern Europe, and in some part of the Eastern Europe, of course not. Okay. Some other results. It's how confident are you when you buy a product labeled or otherwise indicated as environmentally friendly? It will cause less damage to the environment than other products. And say Fairly confident, it's 53%. It's also a high number. And fully confident, 13%. Again, here the sample was quite high. More than 24,000 people received an answer to the questions. But what is the problem here? You got this one of the first slides about a lot of methodologies, a lot of labels. We're all seeing this problem at all the conferences and all the places and speeches given by the European Commission responsibles, but all the Thema 1 in Germany that are really pushing for this. And then suddenly you got a survey that is saying, hey, don't worry, we are okay with this, we feel confident, and that's okay. Where do you think the problem could be? Is that people just answer to these questionnaires without maybe lying a little bit, or maybe saying what they intend to do, what is in their mind, but not really what they do? Otherwise, it's difficult to understand these results. This is how it is split into different countries. How confident are you when you buy the product label or the environmental? It's, if you see countries like Belgium, for example, or some like Finland or Sweden, you get high figures and then say they're fairly confident. It is the blue line. And yeah, so, but it's also strange if you go to, for example, the Spanish one, you see that if you add the fully confident plus the fairly confident, you get 62% of people that were in the survey that came from Spain saying that they were fully or fairly confident with what the information is. I don't really know where did they see any information in the products here in Spain. I'm still wondering myself, where did they get this info from? Yeah.
My opinion is that people sometimes confuse. You may see a product that, you know, maybe communicating that, for example, is 100% recycled, but it doesn't say anything else about it. It's just saying that it's 100% recycled. And maybe people confuse this with this labeling that you are talking about, which is something completely different. Because I think that this labeling, it's more, well, as you mentioned, it has to do more with environmental issues and sometimes even sustainable issues, like, you know, are they using child labor to produce?
Mm-hmm.
Are they emitting a lot of gases or not? So those kind of labels, I think, are very difficult to find yet in the, at least in the Spanish market. But you can see a lot of products that has a lot of fancy green, you know, labels and a sort of greenwashing, if you want to call it that way.
Yeah,
so
something was put like 100% recycled or material or yeah.
And you put some trees, you know, and some flowers, you know,
yeah.
in the,
yeah.
and that's it.
And then you.
So that's why I believe that people, you know, may think that this, like when they feel confident that this is helping the environment, it's because they associate, you know, their purchases to these kind of products, which are not, in my opinion, strictly related to the carbon footprint.
Okay. Thank you. Any other reactions to this country profile? Where is Germany? Yeah, hello?
No, I just wanted to ask, which country is MT, the first one?
That's it could be Malta, I think. Got Portugal, Hungary, Denmark, Spain, Italy. That should be Malta, I think. Yeah. Okay. I was looking at where is Germany. This one? Yeah, that's 87%. If you add 41 plus 46, you get the fully confident. No, sorry, you get. Sorry. It's 44%. If you add fully plus fairly, these are the not very confident. This is what I want to ask here. Not very confident. This could be one of the highest in addition to this one, which is Romania. But this is 46% of the German people that were in the survey answered, we don't feel very confident with what is in the label. What do you think? What could be behind these answers? Why German people answered, we don't feel very confident? Instead of saying, for example, the Portuguese, 59% said they're fairly and 25 fully confident. What is the problem behind this? I mean, what is behind, at least behind this 41% or this 46%? Why German answer, 46% answer, oh, listen, I don't feel too confident with this. Why do you think is that happening? Any one of you know? Maybe our German? It's a very simple question.
I'm not 100% sure. I just guess that from my point of view, there are too many problems, too many labels, and you grab something and you don't even know if it's true, if it's what Javier said, if it's greenwashing, or if you're actually buying a product that is recycled and all that. So I think it's confusion.
Confusion.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. My opinion is that you have more information. And as you have more information and you know more about what is behind, you don't feel confident. You don't feel like, okay, I trust this label. And in some other countries, we just really don't know. But?
Isn't that the confusion then?
Is it confusion?
Like too much information so that in the end everyone's confused.
Yeah.
If they behave right or wrong.
That's it. That's it. Okay. Another one. What do we care about when we buy something? What would you say that when making a decision on what products you buy, the following aspects are important or not? There are different surveys, like the 2009 figure and the 2012. Okay, if you are the latest one and this is the 3 years earlier, the quality of the product, the price of the product, the product's impact on the environment, or the brand. So, yeah, what do you think? Quality, is it important? Yeah, quality, it's important. Figure is almost the same in the two surveys, 65, 70, 67. But what about price and impact on the environment? I think they're too close. Why? I mean, we just, in theory, say, oh, price. But, well, might be them. Some other give a certain number that is very close to the 40% on the impact on the environment. Yeah, that's also interesting. Then the brand. So, you might think, which is the product that we're comparing? Which products are we just considering when choosing a price or quality, or it will just vary a lot. If there are things that you like because you visually attracting for you, or it's food and you just care about the quality, or maybe a car that it's fancy and your neighbor bought that car and you're seeing it every day and say, I want this car. Okay, so you will have to just differentiate among the products. where your preferences, the quality is important, and some other that you might don't care too much about the quality, and then you give some other, some more importance about other attributes of the products. What do we think? Do you think that current product labels provide enough information? And yeah, 7% that is yes, and the information is clear. 32% say yes, but the information is unclear. And 48% say no, current labels are not clear. Yeah, that's making sense. Okay. Have a look at this picture. Give you just 30 seconds to think what you see there. Just try to figure out you're there. This is, what is that? Sorry? Where's that?
In New York, in the Times Square.
New York, Times Square. What can you see when you look at this picture? Just tell me what you see first. Just a immediate.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Samsung. Barclays. Samsung is right above.
Yeah. Coca-Cola. Samsung.
CNN.
Where is CNN?
It's on the left. Down. Left hand.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then movies. Barclays. I think it's on the right. Up.
Barclays here.
HSBC. It's the TV channel.
Okay.
What?
Here.
Just brands. No. Brands and movies.
Okay. Thank you. Do you think that looking at this, when you would be there at Times Square in New York, maybe not now, it's freezing, but in 3 months' time, you would be really attracted by this Coca-Cola and some other. I wouldn't go and look at this. I think so, but it might appear that the first that you see is this one. If you are, of course, in front of that, yeah, maybe the movies, etc. I'll show you what happened. That's after a study that was done from a Denmark school using the systems that I spoke to you about that people have in their brains, and then try to figure out what these connections in the brains are. The brain is saying. These are the red is showing where the people are just focusing immediately. That's Coke. What's this? Samsung. So they're placed at the right place. Okay? They are at the right place if you just put your nouns there or here, maybe nobody will see it. Of another example. Which one do you think you will first look at? Come on. Tell me which one you will maybe attract your attention more.
Well, I will tell honestly, the first thing I looked at the black and white one.
Uh-huh.
But then I understood something's wrong. Then you have this, the first impression, like it was. But that was for me most effect, the effect was the most.
Okay. Black and white? Yeah?
For me, it would be like the right one, the bottle, like the
This
typical
one?
water that we know, yeah.
Because you see here Coca-Cola.
And also because it's curved, and the brain tends to look more at curvy lines than at rect lines. And because I know that bottle, so it's like I'm gonna look at what I know.
Okay. And why this and not this one?
Because it's more straight lines.
Okay. And what about this?
No, it's like, no.
No. Don't care.
At all.
Label? What's this? Okay. Yeah?
I would choose this one because the design is simple and they have a huge label that I can read the information. And it's something new that the
This
second
one?
The second one.
This one. You will, sorry?
Because design
The design.
is simple.
Uh-huh.
And they do not have this bigger logo on it, but then they have a label including all the information it had.
Uh-huh.
And this is something that I never seen in the market before, so I would go to choose the new one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's just a kind of consumer habit.
Okay. Thank you. Some other reactions?
I would choose the first bottle because it has a different shape from conventional bottles. It's like square, and also it's very clear, but it's still the same Coca-Cola typo. So I can relate to the concept I have with Coca-Cola. I can see like it's the same brand. It hasn't changed because it's the same letters, but it's in a more modern format. So I would go for it.
First one.
Yeah, first one.
Thank you. You said it's the way I'm used to see Coca-Cola. Yeah. So what that means? I mean, that's important. It's the way I'm used to see this product. So if in my mind there's something that is familiar, or I'll go for this product. I felt in a way comfortable or safe buying this product because I know I've been drinking Coca-Cola for, I don't know, 25 years, and that's it. I don't.
So I know what to expect.
Yeah. What to expect from a positive or maybe from a negative point of view.
Yeah, but it's a product I know well. The two products in the middle, I don't know them.
Okay. You don't know them, but they might be better.
Yeah, maybe they are. But
Maybe they are.
The letter is very little. It's like they don't want me to know.
Uh-huh. It's just it's hidden information. Is like, well, just please, we just put a cover and something that is, yeah, making us thinking, oh, what is inside?
Like, to be honest, when I first look at this picture, I thought that all of them are Coca-Cola.
Uh-huh.
They're just different labels, but because of the red tip of the bottle.
Yeah. You think the
the
four are
shape
the same?
And the shape of the line also, it's very characteristic of Coca-Cola. And just the white one, it has the information that it's available almost in every product. It's just the nutrition factors and stuff like that, which we may pay attention or not. But definitely, if you want to buy Coca-Cola, you are looking. I mean, you are expecting to see the logo, but in this case, I think the four of them are Coca-Cola.
Which one will you pick up if you want to drink a Coke?
Only if I want to drink Coke.
Yeah.
First one or fourth one.
The first or the fourth?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. That's interesting. Okay. So we normally used to see this one. This is normal shape with the logo in the middle, and maybe at the back some information about how to recycle it. But we never look at it, more or less, or almost never. Yeah, we should just try to, if we don't have time, we'll go for this one, most of the times. If we just working on a maybe kind of example, like academic thing, we will just try to figure out if it's the same, look at the label, etc. But if you're a consumer, you most of the times don't have too much time. You just go and grab something to drink, and then you go. And you're used to this kind of labels and shape in the bottle, so you most of the time won't care. So do you disagree with me or not? No? You should come on. Or maybe we should be open for new things. It's like, come on, we used to that, but we should change our behavior. We should change. We are the one who should change it, not our parents or our grandparents. They're not going to change. But
maybe this is not a good example.
It's not a good example.
Coca-Cola, it's too much specific.
Yeah, the brand is important.
Yeah.
Even if what is inside the Coke might not be good from a health perspective. Why? What is it inside? Could you repeat this?
We don't know what's inside Coca-Cola, but we keep consuming it.
We don't know. We don't know. Definitely, we don't know. We'd sometimes go and see E70, colorant, whatever. What's that?
In light Coke, you can see aspartame.
Yeah. Some other.
Caramel also.
Yeah.
Corn syrup.
Yeah. Maybe things not too good for your health.
Carbonates, no sé cuánto.
Yeah.
But I don't think that because it's a strong brand, that then people keep consuming it. Because
Oh, sorry. The microphone.
I was saying that I don't think that because it's a strong brand,
Yeah.
that everybody keeps consuming it. I know people that don't drink Coca-Cola.
That they just don't drink Coke.
Yeah.
But they might drink Pepsi.
No.
No? Just juice, water. Okay. There are some people, you're right, that don't drink Coke or Fanta or Pepsi. They say, no, I don't drink it because I know that's bad for my health. I was going to say, my mother always says, this is the beginning of Forrest Gump film. My mother always said, you know this sentence? The beginning of Forrest Gump film saying, my mother's always said, life is like a box of chocolate. My sentence is, my mother always says, because she's a doctor, please don't drink Coke. There's bad things inside. There are bad things. But we drink it. I still drink it. I like it. Look at what we have after this study from the Danish school. Where is the attention focused? Somewhere in the middle between the black bottle and the one we used to. No? You don't agree? Come on. I like people who don't agree. Who doesn't
I
agree?
don't agree because I focus in the first Coca-Cola because it's more clear, it's bigger, and it's also red, and red is a color that catches your attention. And it's also the same color. So...
Mm-hmm. Wait. You can't speak without the microphone. You
like a big ad. Like a big ad.
You said at the beginning you would go for the first one. I remember. So you wouldn't have been attracted by the black or by the usual one, okay? Yeah, okay. Thank you.
No, I was going to say that probably the first one, and they don't have like any color because it's very easy to identify with Coca-Cola. So people are more focused, on the black one and on the other one because they're trying to see what exactly this is. If you look at it, there's also some yellow and red colors on the top of the bottle as well.
Yeah.
So it looks like
like here or there, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you have a look at this, it seems that this is really where people focus, like black and there. Generally speaking, it doesn't mean that 100% over 100 would just look here, but on averages, this will be the focus point, black and here. Maybe due to the design, this is written here recyclable, and this is the useful one, but what happened with this one, where you have the label? No one cares about it. You might be for this one, even if in this study it doesn't appear to be the most attractive one, but this one or one of these two, maybe this here, this one, the design, but then you go for this one, but no one will care about this one, just maybe to see there what is inside. But there is almost no red color from this kind of red, this kind of red, but not the attention is not really focused there. So it means that people don't look at this label.
I think it's very interesting in connection with what we were talking about the taste Coca-Cola and about what's inside the Coca-Cola. Because just look, people are tempted to see what's there on top. Like people are tempted to try. This is about the taste. And if people try, they don't want to read what's on that written on the white bottle on the second one.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because they are tempted to try, and if they like the taste, they would buy.
Okay. Thank you. So it's taste.
I mean, if in the case of this example, I think that the idea is that you wanted a Coca-Cola.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
it's like, I think that no one reads that because already everybody knows that you're not going to find anything good there, so you better not read it. you just drink it and don't know.
It's better like, okay, I know it's
Close
bad.
your
It's
eyes.
better not to read it. I know I'm drinking something that it's not very good for
Ignorance
health.
is bliss.
Sorry?
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. Okay. Any other reactions?
I choose the second one.
You choose the second one. I know.
choose the second one, yeah.
Because the design was interesting for you.
I think it also has something to do with where you put the kind of bottle. If you put it in a not conventional supermarket, you put it in a store. For example, Muji. Muji is like the same kind of design everywhere. So if you go there, you want to try out that kind of bottle. So it totally depends the background, where you put it.
Okay.
And also depend who's your target customer.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, I like to try out new thing. I would definitely try out this one instead of buying this something that I've been known for years and years.
Okay.
Yeah, I will also read the label too. But label is just for my information, might not necessarily influence my decision to buy it or not.
Sorry?
The label just for my information only. It might influence whether, like, my decision to buy it or not.
Okay.
So it's not going to be a key information. It will be just a side information for my reference only.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So she said, one second. You agree? That's great. But she says that depending on which store and which target client you have, the different designs, the different type of bottle will have a different effect on the clients. You want to add something?
I just wanted, it's very interesting what Joan said, because I agree. I mean, if the people are, this is not a supermarket, this is just a slide. And if the people are shown this slide just like this,
Yeah.
it's like normally the brain goes to the right part and to the upper part. That's why the newspapers, they have different fees for the advertisements. And
Yeah.
normally the most expensive one is upper top right.
Yeah.
And so maybe this is related to the position and not so much to the, I don't know, to the labels or the traditional versus the non-traditional one.
Okay. Okay. So we've gone through, that's beverage. We had before the kind of Times Square with different advertising, and we went before to this bag, and then previously to this hand dryer. This is kind of product to know, like for consumers like us, we're not going to buy this kind of things. That's more for companies. So if the consumer is a company, or if you are on a B2B, like business to business, you might consider in your decision some of the design, of course, but you might go for a more cold decision, which means that you will just think about what's the price, what is the energy consumption, and how long will it take you to get the money you spent back. If you're a company, I'm not saying this is 100% of the decision, but it will be a huge part of the decision will be based on what is the price of it, what is going to be the use phase of this product, how is it going to be used if it's in an airport or in a restaurant, and it's going to be used thousands of or hundreds of times every day. You must think about moving to this one first because it will consume less energy, but it will help that the design is fancy. Okay. If we move to this one kind of things, the question is that, yeah, okay, I'm buying a bag. I will not go through 45 minutes search on the Decathlon and trying to figure out which one is the less footprint back. Maybe if I get a simple communication tool or simple information, I will try to do it very carefully. But I should be able to compare these products if they are placed at the same place. If I have to go and try to see if there's one here, another one 50 meters at the beginning of the shop, it might be difficult. So this is important. The red, the colors are sorry. The colors are important. Having different indicators is important, but before that, you will need to be able to compare them, and it should be easy for you. Okay. Then we got that we've gone through. The Cokes. Another example. This one you will like. Just have a look at it. Which one would you choose? Just tell me which one would you think about if you are going to the shop and you see there's different clothes, different colors, different designs, all very fashion and very modern. Some look like cows, but some other like tigers. Some like your grandmother. I have some ideas here.
I would go, of course, for design in first place, but maybe if I'm caught between a choice between two clothes, like I don't know which of the two to get, maybe I will look at the green label. So it can be like, in case that I don't know what to decide, maybe it can help me like to take the last decision.
Okay. So you mean the label will help you to decide whether or not go for one or?
Yeah, the environmental label.
Okay. Okay. Some other? Come on. Which one will you go first? Which one is you like the most? Or where would you go first? Where would you go first?
I would go for the animal print.
For this one?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, when it comes to clothes, there's the assumption that the cheaper the item, the like more environmental impact it has, as opposed to like more expensive things are perceived to be like better quality, and so would probably be better in terms of environmental care. But I read an article the other day that actually said that some of these very expensive items actually are as bad as the cheaper items. So
yep.
I wouldn't even know what to do now.
Better quality and high price wouldn't necessarily mean less impact. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. What would you go for?
I don't know which one in particular I would go for, but I think, I think the price is the one which.
The price?
You make your decision. Yeah.
More than the design?
No, of course the design.
Design.
But then when it comes to environment friendly or cheap, I think. Well, I would like to say that I would go for the environment, but I would go for the price.
You would go for price.
Yeah.
So what you say is that once you've chosen something that you like, then you will look at the price. But first you will look at something that you like.
Yeah,
maybe
of course.
would you buy, I don't know, something that you wouldn't like, but I don't know, maybe this one.
Maybe.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So if you would like this one, you will try to ask to the someone in the shop, could I please try this one? And then after that, you will.
If I like it and the price is okay, I would buy it.
You will buy it, if the price is okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Some other reactions? Okay, let's see what comes out. So you see different points, okay? It seems that this shop is quite interesting. That's just women clothes. Yeah, if I'm not wrong. These are the kind of, cow color. What is it? What is this one? What was it? This one? Some of this? It's the dresses here. What happened with this? People doesn't seem to really look at it. They just pass by. Because here, maybe at the back there. Okay. So what happened if you, for example, put a footprint label on this? If people just don't care about the design, they would even care less about what is the information. They just, no one will look at it. Yeah. Okay. Any other reactions? So design, speaking about, we've gone through the air dryer, the Coke, this Times Square, and this clothes shop. Okay. A way to summarize all this information, there's a very interesting article that I would like to discuss with you. We're going to go through now from this Zurich ETH University in Switzerland, and with various authors. Mainly this Christina Tobler wrote her thesis about how consumers were addressing climate change and what should we do to change the behavior of the consumers. Some ideas in this article that I find really, really interesting. They say consumers influence climate change. That's what we said at the beginning. Through their consumption patterns and their support or dismissal of climate mitigation policy measures. Okay, so consumers change through their consumption patterns. Okay, say both climate-friendly actions and policy support. Climate-friendly actions and policy support from the government comprise a broad range of options which vary in manifold ways and therefore might be influenced by different factors. This article has two aims. First one is intended to find a meaningful way to classify different ways of addressing climate change. And second is examine which determinants influence people's willingness to engage in these behaviors. So now we're moving to a little bit more than products, okay? So it's like more attitudes towards buying a service or some other things that we do in our daily life, like transport, etc. Okay. A principal component analysis indicate that a distinction in terms of a behavior's diagnosis as well as a differentiation according to perceived costs of what we're doing, what is the cost that we perceive, seem to be appropriate to classify climate-friendly actions. Gone to that multiple regression analysis show the perceived cost and perceived climate benefit turn out to be the strongest predictors of willingness to act. So perceived cost and perceived climate benefit. If we perceive that what we're doing has a positive effect, it might be, might go for it, okay? The strong influence of perceived climate benefit might reflect the strategy of reducing cognitive dissonance, okay? High cost behaviors are more difficult to adopt. That means that if we are trying to switch from one product that we buy another, or if we're going to recycle or properly, or we don't recycle, these are like easy decisions. But if we go to high cost behaviors, the consumers are dismissing high cost behavior as not effective in terms of climate change mitigation. What means that if the decision has a high cost for us, high cost not in the way just of money, but high cost that is difficult to change, it will be very difficult to change it. Another thing, political affiliation proved to be another strong determinant of willingness to act or support. Okay. Participants on the right wing, were less willing to show indirect climate-friendly behaviors, change their mobility behaviors, and to support any type of climate mitigation policy measures. Climate-friendly, low-cost behaviors, however, were not influenced by political affiliation. Okay? It means that the low-cost behaviors, that is something that it's easy for you to change. It's not really important which party you vote or which one you choose. Okay. Some sentences that appear in this article and that I think that are useful for us. You say, low cost and little inconvenience. Things that we can change that will not really damage or influence our comfort. Okay? Lower cost, easy or ease the transformation of attitudes into the corresponding behavior. That's another article. And that's regarding low cost. Regarding high cost, or something that is causing you a big inconvenience, environmental concern alone is not sufficient to overcome the barriers. For example, if someone tells you that you cannot fly and you cannot use the airplane, what would you think? I say, hey, come on, I fly anytime I want. I go for holiday, or I go Christmas time, you in Madrid, a lot of you just came from abroad and then say, I will go for Christmas just to stay with my family. Or why do I have to avoid flying for my holidays? That's a kind of high cost or high inconvenience, more difficult to overcome. Another idea is that environmentally concerned people generally tend to show low-cost behaviors, such as recycling, that's important, but do not necessarily engage in activities that are more costly or inconvenient, such as reducing driving and flying. So, yeah, great. I recycle, I use LED in my house, and oh, great, I'm a very nice person. I can sleep well, and I have reduced my footprint, and I'm working on the right direction. But no, I just flying to Costa Rica or to I don't know, Vietnam for holidays. Still have my car because of course I need my big car with big wheels and yeah. But I recycle, or I do this kind of small changes in my daily life that appear to be important, but in fact they're not. If you calculate your individual footprint, We went through that the other day a little bit. Flying has an enormous impact on your individual footprint. You can recycle, you can use even public transportation, you can switch your electricity supply to 100% renewable, between brackets. I think this always like between brackets because it's difficult to know if it's 100% renewable, but if you get these certificates of origin or kind of statement that says you get 100% renewable supply, but if you keep flying, you will have twice the average individual footprint of a European individual, which is roughly 8 tons of CO2 per year. If you fly twice to the US or to Asia, you will have 25 tons of CO2 per year as an individual. You can recycle, you can do whatever you want. The only thing you can do with that is just stop flying. Difficult decision. Second one is offsetting these emissions. Okay? So putting money in a project where you can offset these emissions. So my question now is, would you think you would, now you know this, maybe some of you knew that before, but would you be able to pay to offset your emissions? Again with my microphone. Would you be able to offset the emissions that you are not willing to reduce or that are causing you higher inconvenience or that have a high cost for you? Would you ready to offset and pay money for that? Ready or not?
It's difficult, but being honest, no, I wouldn't. But on the other hand, I think that we, for example, as a country, we are already doing it. For example, Spain, they are emitting more than we should as a country. So we are paying to offset these extra emissions that we are putting in the atmosphere. Even it's not as individual, which is the question, but at the country level or at the company level, these practices are normal.
That we're not offsetting our emissions. We're just offsetting the emissions that we are releasing in excess of the limit that was fixed to us.
Yeah.
But we're still emitting a lot of CO2 equivalent, not just the carbon dioxide, that we're not offsetting. We're just offsetting, we're just buying carbon credits for what we're emitting in excess of the excess from the limit.
The limit. Yeah, but we don't have a limit as an individual.
Okay, but imagine you would have a limit, like your limit is 10 tons of CO2 per year. Would you be ready to offset what are you emitting on top of that? What is your first reaction?
I don't know. I guess it depends on how
yes
urgent it is for me to fly or not to fly. If it's something that I can avoid, I don't know. It's a difficult question.
Do you normally travel to Argentina?
Yes.
Okay. Just imagine that you would have to decide between flying to Argentina and visit your family and your friends, or offsetting the emissions and be. So first option is you can still fly, but you offset your emissions, you pay for them. Second is you stop flying there.
Well, no. In my decision, I will include all the costs that will represent to me to fly to Argentina. If I have to offset because I have a limit, then it will be like more cost to me. So I may not go there every year, but at least once every 2 years. If that's the case, I don't know.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Is any one of you paying for what you're emitting? No?
I mean, maybe there is a tax on some things, then we are already paying for that in I don't know, in some way, but not like actively paying, because I don't even know how much CO2 I emit.
Okay. So first thing is that you wouldn't really know how much you emit, but you could have a kind of calculator, a lot of calculators in the website. One of this, My Climate, for example, in Switzerland, that it's quite robust and saying an accurate data. You put your energy consumption, the number of flights you've done, the kind of car you have, some information, and you get your footprint. And say, okay, my footprint 2014 was 20 tons of CO2. You can do nothing. If no one tells you that you have to do nothing, you won't do anything. Just like for free or for fun, maybe. Maybe if you are really concerned or really conscious of what your activities are causing. But otherwise, if you don't get a kind of regulation or someone who is at least communicating to you how to do it, or that you have a limit or a tax or something, you won't really do it. Okay? Three categories: buying green, buying more efficient appliances, for example, suffering discomfort, lowering the thermostat, and driving less. The three categories that are voluntary actions could also indicate different cost levels. Even the three of them are voluntary. What is said is that people's willingness of taking these actions decrease when they became more difficult or costly. For example, installing solar panels. You have to invest some money in doing it, and it will cost you money. So if you don't have a help or just someone who comes to your house and tell you, okay, I'm going to finance this, you don't pay anything, and that's for free. Well, maybe. But if you have to invest 20 or 30,000 euros for your solar PV panels and having electricity, okay, that's not so evident. Or if they threaten people's lifestyle, like driving less, say, why? I just don't like the metro. I prefer going with my car because I'm free to then do whatever I want. Maybe meet a friend or go for lunch with someone, or yeah. Okay? It seems important to communicate the climate benefits associated with climate-friendly actions if this involves higher costs. This is another important thing. Communicate. If the cost of this behavior change is high, it's important to communicate these benefits, such as, okay, look, if you change and don't use the car during the week or don't use it during the weekend, you will avoid the release of this amount of CO2. Might help a little bit. If consumers misjudge the effectiveness of this action, such information would help them to realistically estimate the consequences of their actions. But what happens in real life is that consumers don't even know what is happening and what we're causing. Is that 1 ton of CO2 if we use a car? Is that 10? Is that 200 grams? How much is it? So having the information and with the right way of communicating it helps, okay? Consumers would, for instance, be reminded that avoiding flights has a greater impact on climate mitigation than recycling. That's what I was telling you before. Recycling, from the greenhouse gas emissions perspective, is not relevant. It is, of course, relevant if we speak about reusing, not extracting additional resources, etc. But on an individual basis, if we compare flights with recycling, you can recycle almost anything that you use, but if you're still flying, you're not really reducing anything. Yeah, okay. That's last sentence is that knowledge about the actions, okay, would impede the strategy to reduce, okay, the cognitive dissonance, which is like the reaction, by dismissing more costly climate actions as ineffective. It means that sentence is that the meaning behind it is that by knowing that the high cost or high cost actions is what is behind them and what is the damage or the impact of these actions and knowing the information behind them is important to make people react. Okay. For example, car use, difficult. It seems difficult to change or to motivate consumers to change their behavior by just appealing to their concern. It's just, please don't use car. You are damaging our planet. You are doing bad things. Yeah.
Yeah, the other day I read an article where there was a guy that talked about the emissions of us producing by driving our cars, and he said that it's it was concerning Germany, and he said it's a governmental problem, but he said we can only change if we make the drivers pay. Like, for example, pay a lot. The parking spaces are for free, and he says make them pay for every time they want to park somewhere, and a lot, like 25 euros an hour. Or make them pay more for oil. So all this will only change if the people realize like they have to pay, because their emission is huge, and they only will reduce it when when you make them pay, because then they realize what they're doing.
Okay.
I found it really interesting because, of course, if someone wants to go into town, is using the car but knows, okay, I have to pay I don't know how much to just park there, they will think about their action and maybe take the metro because that's less. Because he wants the prices to change. Like the metro less, but more for just driving the car.
Yeah. What happened, for example, here in Madrid is that we have to pay when we park our car in the city center. Well, in the whole space inside the M30, you have to pay to park your car. But this price is, I wouldn't say too high, but it's in a way of collecting money from the state government, from the city town hall. Yeah. So I think that if you put a high price, you will avoid people coming to the city, but they will not collect any euro. I'm just speaking about Madrid, what I think. But it's interesting what you say. It's just if you put a high price, people will leave their car and use public transportation. Yeah, that would be a solution if we just think about reducing the emissions.
Yeah, and he also said like that then you should promote more like the electrical cars, because with all the wind energy and all that, you could like in a few years we could save so much energy that we could like use these cars not only because now you can only use them for like shorter ways, right? Like he was talking about trips from like Germany to Italy or something, because a lot of people use the planes because it's a bit faster. But if you could go by these like with these cars, it would be the same price. It would be an option as well, because it's often comfortable to go with your own family car, whatever, and put everything in and go into the holidays than using a car. So he said that's what we have to go for, like trying to use more electrical cars, make the other ones more expensive, and use the renewable energy we save.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I wanted to. I agree with Annette and with you also that if the government imposes certain taxes, or that you can push people to go in a certain direction, but if it's voluntary, I think we all have in the back of our heads, or some people have in the back of their minds, that if I alone change my lifestyle, it's not going to make a lot of difference.
Okay.
So maybe it's got to do with the tragedy of the commons,
Yeah.
that I don't do it because the others don't do it, and then none of us do it.
If I just do it, I won't really make a change. This is what you say.
If only me. So then we would need maybe more drastic measures to get everybody to do it. Because if only one person changes its life, I don't think it's going to make any difference.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Say, high personal costs prevent people from acting according to their attitudes. Okay, high personal costs. Okay, it seems more important to focus on how consumers perceive the cost and inconveniences, how they perceive it. The question is that when you ask people what they intend to do, it's not the same at what they do. You know what I mean? Say, you would like to just use public transportation? Yes, of course. But what do you normally do? No, I use my own car. Yeah. Do you know LED? That the cost is at, of course, more expensive, but you're saving 80% of energy. Yeah, I will go for LED. Let me have a look at your house. What do you have inside? Oh, that's not LED. So be careful with that. People, we tend to say what we would like to do, and there's a big gap between what we say we're going to do and with we really do. Okay? So behavior and their estimation of its associated climate benefit, that's it. Changing the perception of costs and inconveniences might be challenging, changing the perception, but could substantially increase people's willingness to change their mobility behavior. So we should in a way try to design or to describe how to change the perception of the cost and the inconveniences of what we do, and try to communicate this to the people. Up to this small exercises for those of you who are in this classroom, and for those who are following us through the this webcast, through the website, and those who want to have some more information and try to go to practice a little bit, we'd like now to you to work in groups of 3, 3, 3, and you 2, and you group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. Try to figure out, you get some tablets, you hold on them, and those of you who are not here, if you just gone to the internet or trying to find some information about these 4 ideas, okay? The first one is the emissions between a normal car, hybrid, and electric car. Okay, just try to figure out which are the emissions of that's your group, okay? Try just to find, if you just find a normal car, a lot of cars like, I don't know, Ford or Volkswagen or any others, but just try to find one, find a hybrid and find an electric car. Try to find which are the emissions associated with this one. For you, group 2, please try to find out which is the cost and the emissions that you avoid if you use LED instead of common lighting. Okay, just try to find which are the figures. Group 3, so you, that's fridge. Just try to find out if you use a triple plus fridge or a common fridge, how much energy and you're using or you are reducing. Okay, and for you it's group 4. That's most difficult one, but just try to figure out between using gas and biomass for heating and hot water. That's on a house, which is the cost of the gas and the cost of biomass. Just try to find out. For those of you who are not here today, you can, and if you want to do this exercise, please feel free to choose one of these options, and we are going to be back in 5-10 minutes. Okay, so thank you for working on this. We are going to know what did you find. So group 1, you had this comparison between common, hybrid, and electric car. What do you have? Group 1. Oh, sorry.
We have different measures because there are different ways to calculate, and you can calculate like CO2 per gallon of gasoline or diesel, or per kilometer, or per mile, or per. There are a lot of calculations, but we have found that the conventional vehicle like emits 87 pounds of CO2.
87. Do you have kilograms? No.
For
you have pounds. You don't have kilograms.
For 100 miles. No, we would have to
85
multiply.
pounds.
Pounds. Yeah, we would have to multiply.
Of CO2.
For 100 miles.
For 100 mile.
100 mile. You write it like this. Mile. 2L.
Yeah. Yeah.
Miles. Una sola. Okay.
That's with the conventional car.
Conventional car. Conventional car. Okay. Hybrid.
The hybrid, it's 57.
57. Okay. And the
hybrid? No, is this hybrid? The electrical?
This one.
That's hybrid.
Hybrid. And the electrical.
electric one is 54.
54. Okay. That's the 3 cars: common car, hybrid car, electrical car. Okay. Great. Thank you. Group 2, you had the LED and LED comparison with common lights. What did you find out?
We found out if talking in pounds, we found out that per year, taking into account that you would use 30 bulbs per year, the LED lights would would emit 451 pounds CO2.
You're all working in pounds now,
yeah,
suddenly.
but because everyone has pounds, so maybe it's better now.
Pounds? 451 pounds?
Yeah, yearly.
Well, that's CO2?
Yeah, CO2 yearly.
A year. And the...
While the common would be 4,500.
4,000?
500 pounds yearly. Pounds
Wow.
of CO2 yearly.
So that's 10 times less.
10 times more, yeah.
Okay, thank you. What about group 3? You worked on the fridge. Wait, microphone.
We also looked it up in pounds because it appeared like in the Bosch line. So we found this fridge we compared two fridges with the same capacity, and the one that was A with 3 plus would cost 700 pounds. A3 plus, 700 pounds.
700 pounds of
And
CO2?
No, 700
The
pounds.
price?
Yeah, because we are talking about the cost reduction.
That's the price of the fridge.
Yeah, that's the price of the fridge. And it says it would save up to 250 pounds in 5 years.
Pounds of CO2?
Yeah.
Or
of
pounds money?
Yeah.
In
5 years.
5 years, that's the saving.
Yeah. But then the one without any efficiency is 200 pounds. So the difference would be
400 pounds?
No, yeah. So the difference will be like 400 pounds. So it's still very expensive to purchase a high efficiency fridge.
And you're saving 250 pounds.
So yeah, 700 minus the 250 pounds, it gives you like 450 pounds. And then the conventional fridge is 2,000 pounds. So it's still 200 pounds more expensive, the high efficiency.
What is the cost of the normal fridge?
The normal fridge, 200.
Oh, 200.
Yeah, 200. So if you subtract the savings with the initial investment, it's 450.
So we need 10 years.
In 5 years.
So you will need the double, 10 years to...
Yeah, you would need 10 years if the fridge is working appropriately.
Regarding just the cost.
Yeah, regarding the cost.
Okay. What about the gas and biomass comparison?
We found that you'd save between 25 and 80 pounds for
which one?
per year between the gas and the biomass. So it's
25?
25 to 80 pounds.
Also pounds?
Yeah, but and then it's 4 to 6.3 tons of CO2.
4
to 6.3
tons
of CO2.
That's the saving?
That's the no. That's the
emissions.
The emissions, yeah.
Of which one?
Of the biomass is 4.63 less than gas. Wait, hold on.
Biomass is?
Yeah, compared to
If you compare biomass to gas?
To gas, you save that amount of CO2.
4 to 6.3.
Yeah, between.
Okay. Great. So, yeah, lead is clearly reduction, saving. Regarding the cars, regarding just here, it's not so evident that which one is best, because this one is emitting more, but clearly the hybrid and the electrical has also a positive footprint. Regarding the fridge, that was just a cost calculation, but it'll take you 10 years to get the money back. So even if you're saving, if you did a calculation of how much CO2 you were saving, but because the A++ is you're saving and you're consuming less energy, but it will take you 10 years to get the money that you spent in excess back. And in the biomass, that's the what was it, 25 to 80? That's the range.
Yeah, that's what you'd save per year.
In money.
In biomass. Yeah.
Okay, so we should also calculate the cost of each of the boilers of the technology. Okay, and you're saving 4 to 6 tons of CO2 a year. Okay. Okay, great. Okay. So we've gone through it. Just almost finished now. I hope that you had this was useful for you. Just bear in mind that it's not always the same criteria depending on the product, depending on in which country you are, depending on what communication, which label, how confident you feel with what the information is on the product. It might be sometimes that just the economic thing is just making you taking another decision that you won't really care about the emissions. Just for a matter of price, if you have to spend 700 pounds or 1,000 euros instead of 350 or 400 euros, that's it. Regarding the cars, it's also interesting to see how the footprint is not so big or not so bad for conventional cars compared to the others, if you take into account the emissions. Regarding lead, it's very, very clear that from a CO2 perspective, you're 10 times less. The question is there the price of them, maybe 8 or 9 times more expensive than the conventional lights. And regarding the biomass and gas, there are some other additional criteria here. Just think about biomass that needs maintenance from the owner of the biomass boiler compared to the gas, where you just have the annual maintenance. And in the biomass, if you have a biomass small scale plant at home, you will need to do a weekly maintenance. So maybe this is an additional factor that could make you don't switch from gas to biomass. Maybe just try to balance which is the how much money you are saving, and if it's convenient for you, it's a high cost measure, or if it's a low cost measure, depending on if you are going to do this weekly maintenance or not. And regarding the savings, it's roughly a half of your yearly emissions. So it's if you are not flying, I would just consider 8 tons of CO2 per year per one individual. So we went to the Coca-Cola example, to the hand dryer, to the this Times Square and to this clothes shops example. Hope you found them interesting. Thank you for your comments, for your questions, even if I'm just rushed you with a microphone. So it was a pleasure to be with you, and thank you very much. Thank you for those who were listening to us, and see you soon. Thank you.